Allah created you. You are very special. There's only one of you. You are very special. And remember, I love you.
Well, how exactly does one resolve problems in a healthy marriage?
They should just talk to each other.
Comes a healthy relationship. They should sit down and talk and communicate with each other.
Don't react to your initial anger or frustration or whatever's going wrong in your relationship.
I have asked my wife to meet with the woman I am considering marrying. My wife said she would not, and that she would also divorce me. I still love my wife.
I'm not going to talk again religiously, psychologically.
You may.
Oh, well.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Marriage Maintenance. And I am here with my two guests, Dr. Yasser Al-Ma'nawi and Sheikh Muhammad Salah. And we are going to continue our discussion here. But I want to ask you, brothers, a question, but we only have a very, very, very short time because I want to move on because we have to get actually back into some other topics. But we're seeing a lot of questions about plural marriage. Why is this topic continuing to come up when just maybe 20 years ago, this really wasn't an issue? But now we're seeing that this is something that more men appear to want to practice, but the women are going in the opposite direction. This is causing a rift. Why are we seeing this?
In reality, plural marriage has been practiced in the past more than recently. So even though the propaganda concerning plural marriage is more right now, simply in the past there was no problem. But now with the media and so on, there is a big campaign and stereotyping, bashing Islam and so on. I say, in fact, when we say we believe in plural marriage up to 4, because simply Islam, the Quran, and Allah the Almighty made it lawful. And we, as mentioned before, limited the number to 4, not allowed what was limited. No, He limited the number which was unlimited to be just up to 4 with the condition of al-adala. They say, no, it's not fair and wife would not be treated fairly and so on. We say simply that show me anywhere in this universe where plural marriage is not being practiced. I mean, go to North America and read the statistics. It shows that. I don't have to say of the religiously committed people that 60% of them have outside relationships with outside marriage. They're married and they have an outside marriage relationship. So instead of having an illegal relationship, Islam made it legal, where the second woman, instead of being a prostitute, she would be a wife, have all the rights of financial support, of having children, of having her own independent housing, of sharing the inheritance of that person if he happens to die. A respected wife in the community.
Okay. Briefly, Dr. Yasser, why is this coming back?
I think it's just there is more light that's being shed on that issue in the recent years, or in the time that we live in. Another thing is that I think a lot of people need to be educated, or a lot of education need to be put out for people to understand exactly what a plural marriage is, because we're talking about being fair, okay? We're not talking about going outside and having a mistress and then have problems in my marriage and then have problems with the mistress afterwards, because at that time you're not fair. So I think people from the beginning, two people that are married from the beginning, have to have the same understanding, have to have the same value system, have to, to agree on certain lights, not to predict the future and say, well, I'm going to do that in the future. No, but they have to have an agreement on the value itself, that this could happen. If it happens, it's, I hope there will be no problem.
Keep in mind that the media use this as a tool to threaten women from entering Islam. After seeing many women accepting Islam, they say, well, if you enter Islam, your husband has got to marry 4 wives, which is totally false.
Yeah.
We say it is mere permissible whenever it's needed with very strict conditions.
I'll tell you
versus what they claim that, well, if you look at the percentage of those who are married more than 1 wife amongst Muslims, it would not exceed 2%.
Yes,
so
but
why
there's
this
so
big
much,
propaganda?
Propaganda. Interesting point. In the United Arab Emirates, of the women that come over from the Russian Federation, 70% that go there accept Islam. I said 70% that enter the country accept Islam, and they have the statistics that are there. So there are a lot of women who are accepting Islam, and this may be actually a tool to prevent them from doing that. Let me move on to the next issue that we have here, which is from Amira in Washington, D.C. She says, I went into labor in the middle of the night. The contractions were too close together. The hospital I was due to have the baby at was too far away. My husband rushed me to the closest hospital. There was only a male doctor available to deliver the baby. A female doctor was called and she was on her way. My husband gave permission for the male doctor to deliver my baby. I was so humiliated and embarrassed. I cried, kicked, and screamed for him not to touch me through the delivery, through the whole delivery. Also, I was raped when I was in high school. Now I am a veil-wearing Muslimah, and my husband knows how much my modesty means to me. This brought back so many painful memories. I know he was afraid for the baby and me, but he didn't even give me a say-so in the matter. Please tell me how I can get over this. How can I regain trust in my husband? I feel like he aided in my body being violated again.
From an Islamic perspective, there is a rule that says necessities make what's unlawful lawful. So in your condition, which you mentioned in details, that was a necessity, where you are having your contractions, you're due, and there was no female doctor very close or can arrive pretty soon, and that's why you needed an immediate assistance. In this condition, it is permissible with conditions where the male doctor would be only able to look at the spot where he would have to deliver the baby, and in the presence of your husband, if it is possible, or a male mahram. An advice for the future. I believe I happen to have a similar situation where when I was living in North America, I was very keen to have a female doctor deliver my wife. So what happened is I traveled a long distance, maybe 3 hours. And close to the time of delivery, we simply camped there. You find an hotel or friends or whatever, or maybe at the hospital you go a day or two ahead of time, especially if the doctor predicts approximately as when will she give birth. That is your best bet, to be near to a female doctor and to prepare yourself ahead of time, and you schedule this with the female doctor because they're very busy. But just in case, if it is an emergency and there is no but a male doctor, in this condition, it becomes lawful and permissible.
Yeah. And at the same time, it seems like he did take the right decision. Because she, at her situation, I don't think she was going to be able to be in her right mind, right frame of mind to take the right decision. And now it seems like she is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, which has nothing whatsoever.
That's a different case, yeah.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic
stress disorder.
Does that begin in the birthing process or after?
No, that actually
because of the incident.
Yeah, it's what happened to her at high school, and then it got reignited at birth because
the
of
violence.
The male doctor. Yeah.
I see.
But there is no, like this is a doctor. He was not raping her. He was not violating her. He was actually helping her out. And her husband took that decision because he was in fear, I assume. I didn't talk to him, but he must have been in fear for her life.
Yes.
So the situation is different. However, her feelings got reignited by what happened. So she needs to deal with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay. We have Samia in Maryland who says, I want to have plastic surgery, actually liposuction. The doctor is male and a Muslim. My intentions are good because I am doing this to be more pleasing to my husband. Also, we can afford it. My husband says it is wrong. Is it?
First of all, I'm not sure if liposuction is categorized under plastic surgery. Maybe it's a cosmetic surgery, but plastic surgery, as far as I know, that where women would like to increase the size of their chest, lips, and certain body parts by planting things in them, that's completely prohibited, even if it is not harmful, because it is of altering the creation of Allah the Almighty. Cosmetic surgeries will be allowed only in one condition. If deformity in the body is obstructing the person from functioning naturally and normally. Such as if a person has 6 toes and cannot wear the shoes. In this condition, maybe. But if it is not affecting him or her, even an extra finger, for instance, then the person does not have the right to remove it. Allah created him this way. The eyebrows, the lips, the nose. Somebody has a flat nose and he wants to make his nose or her nose, most common amongst women, look skinny and neat and pointed. That's completely haram. And as a matter of fact, when Satan was expelled from heaven, he said, he made a vow before Allah. He said that if you postpone my term and you give me a longer term, I'm going to mislead them and I'm going to command them, وَلَآمُرَنَّهُمْ فَلَا يُغَيِّرُنَّ خَلْقَ اللَّهِ, and I'm going to command them to change the creation of Allah within themselves or others as well. There is another case where cosmetic surgery or even plastic surgery will be permitted, such as in cases of accidents, burns, operations, where the person is encountering deformity and needs to go back to his or her original shape. That is permissible. But simply for the mean of purification, that is haram. And as a matter of fact, liposuction is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. And I'm glad you brought out this issue, because now, especially in North America, we're talking about plastic surgery is to increase their self-esteem or to better their self-esteem. Well, self-esteem doesn't have anything to do with the appearance.
I heard it's carcinogenic too.
Yeah, it's really, self-esteem comes from within. It doesn't come from outside. And then if I'm giving myself an excuse to do a plastic surgery for no reason whatsoever except self-esteem, it's not going to increase the self-esteem.
Okay.
But meanwhile, as far as losing weight...
Wait, we've got to take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Marriage maintenance.
April 2012 is the time to take Muslim Aid's first charity trek of the year, Mount Snowdon. Your challenge, and you will choose to accept it, is to raise £300 to help provide essential aid for the Syria crisis. Last year you raised over £20,000. This year you can do even better. You have the stamina, you have the will, so you should definitely take the Snowdon challenge. Register now by calling 020-7377-4200 or email challenges@muslimaid.org.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. And we are here with marriage maintenance. And we are going to now continue our discussion about problem solving in a healthy marriage. Sheikh Muhammad, I need to start with you. Can you give us something from the Quran, from the Sunnah, in terms of there's a disagreement between the two? We're not saying he's right, we're not saying that she's right, but how do they approach solving their problems from an Islamic perspective?
In the Quran, Allah the Almighty has set a very fantastic, wise mechanisms for solving problems, whether between individuals, partners, communities, groups, or countries, and particularly spouses, husband and wife. First of all, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that seek excuses for your brother up to 70. If you feel hurt, or if you feel that your brother or somebody hurt you by any means, try to find a reason, find a benefit of doubt for him, up to 70. And if you fail to find, then blame yourself, because you're not good-hearted enough to find an excuse for him. So always put yourself in the position of the other party. Maybe he was right in this and I was wrong. Maybe I was angry, maybe I was furious, maybe, and so on. That cools you down when you put yourself in the position of the other party. Second, he also said that none of you would truly believe until he or she likes for his brother or his sister as much as he likes for himself or herself. So when you also put the other party in your position, what would you like for yourself? How would you like to be treated? That would help you to treat them as you would like to be treated, right? Now we come to problems. That depends on the severity of the problem itself. If it is not really a severe problem, Allah the Almighty addressed the fault which would come from either one of them as nushuz. He said, في سورة النساء, I believe in verse 34, وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ فَعِظُوهُنَّ وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. If the fault, if the argument, if the disagreement is because of the wife, then Allah gave the husband a mechanism as how to handle this in the gradation order. Number one, عِظُوهُنْ. Advise them, kindly talk to them, admonish them. If it doesn't work after a while, then اُهْجُرُوهُنْ, which is avoid sharing bed with them, avoid having a relationship with them in bed. And that should not be shared with others in very confidential fashion. And if that doesn't...
talking about it to the family or something.
Exactly. Don't talk to no one about it. That's between you and her. Keep it very limited. And this is the first step in solving problems. The first step on the right track on solving problems. Then if it doesn't work and she's so rebellious, then discipline them. But if she complies, لا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا. Leave them alone. Be kind to them. ولهن مثل الذي عليهن بالمعروف. For them is similar to what they have to give, with kindness, on the foot of kind basis. Prophet Muhammad once was asked about, what are my wife's rights? My wife's rights upon me. He said, أن تطعمها إذا طعمت, is to feed her whenever you eat, and from whatever you eat. وأن تكسوها إذا كسوت, and you buy her clothes whenever you buy for yourself. And make sure, لا تضرب الوجه ولا تقبح. Never lay a hand on her face, and never insult her or humiliate her. وَلَا تَهْجُرْ إِلَّا فِي الْبَيْتِ. And if you ever desert her and have a problem with her, keep it limited. That if the problem is kind of light. But if it is very severe and it is going to determine the fate of the marriage, then Allah says, فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا. If you fear a complete dispute and breakup between them, breakdown, then فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. We're going to ask for an arbitrator. Appoint an arbitrator from her family and another one from his family. If they both wish for peace, Allah will reconcile between them, and He knows best. He also mentioned if the nushuz, which we said that the arrogance, the misbehavior, the ill conduct could be happening or stemming from the husband, not necessarily only the wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَإِنِ امْرَأَةٌ خَافَتْ مِنْ بَعْلِهَا نُشُوزًا أَوْ إِعْرَاضًا فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِمَا أَنْ يُصْلِحَا بَيْنَهُمَا صُلْحًا وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ. So in this same surah, the women surah, it's even called after women, Allah laid down the rules and regulations in a beautiful mechanism of solving problems. But before considering the problem a problem, keep in mind that even in the course of equality of punishment, for murder, for whatever, Allah the Almighty says, وَأَن تَعْفُوا أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى. He sat down a fantastic rule, which is al-af, pardoning. Yeah. Pardon your partner. Forgiving is an excellent quality, which is a quality of the true believer.
Dr. Yasser, I don't want to change the question at all. I just need to get it from another perspective.
Okay. It's actually, you know, if we go according to these rules, then we wouldn't have a problem. Because most of the marital problems, is because the wife would listen to other people, the husband would listen to other people. They don't keep the problems intact or within the family. As soon as anything happens, they run out and they talk to a friend, to a neighbor, to a sister, to a brother, and then they keep listening and listening and listening. That way it gets out of hand. Okay. So we say the same thing. Keep your problems. Try to solve them together. If not, go to family counseling, which is somebody who is an outsider, and he will give them, he'll be a counselor, family counselor. And then, if it doesn't work, then they separate. If they keep going about the same way, they separate, and then they have mediation, and they have other things. So the same rules, if we go by it, it will work, or it might be better for them to follow the rules than to try to solve the problems amongst themselves and not to listen to other people's suggestions.
So going out, yes, go ahead.
Because other people will give you a suggestion according to their
whims.
Yeah, and their experience and everything. And you know, people are not the same. So don't take the suggestions and run with it.
Okay, then someone says, you know, I need to, you know, I'm just trying to get some advice, so I'm going to my friends. I went to my buddy at the masjid, I went to this one, I went to that one, and went to 3 or 4 different people. I'm just trying to get some advice.
Did you go alone or did you go with your wife?
No, I went by, not me, but
I know.
You know.
Whoever. Did he go alone or with his wife?
He goes alone.
Why? They need to be together. It's their problem.
Family council require both parties to be attending.
Okay, we're gonna have to come back to, because it wasn't even fair.
Right.
Okay, we apologize. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Thank you for joining us. Marriage Maintenance. I'm your host, Bilal Abdul Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
You are very special. There's no one just like you. Created by the Master, Allah created you. You are very special, exclusively designed.